Good morning, everyone, and you're very welcome to the first of our Built Environment DKT Virtual Career Series. And we are delighted to be joined this morning by Entekra to launch this particular event. Entekra are great partners of DKIT, have employed many of our graduates and have supported many of our placement students as well. So it's just a delight to have them here today to share with you their opportunities for you both as students and as graduates, and to share with you their ongoing expansion and success as a company. We're joined by Alan Fanning, who is Senior Vice President of the Technical Area. We're also joined by Ciara Larma, Training and Development, Catherine O'Neill from Human Resources and Recruitment, and Greg Rothwell, Engineering Technician and also DKT alumni. This is going to take the form of a presentation, and with all of these presentations, we really encourage you to get involved by posting any comments or questions you have into the chat function. So without any further ado, I'm going to hand over to Alan, who's going to take you through a brief presentation. Thanks, Alan.
That's great. Thanks very much, Catherine. Great to be here. So I suppose we just want to give a brief overview of the company itself. Ciara, you can share the presentation there, or I can flick through it here anyway, so that's okay. So I suppose from our point of view, we want to just give a run through the company, the technical department, the type of projects we're working on, and then we have a short video and a few other slides at the end just to take us through the process. So I suppose overall, from our perspective, Catherine's introduced us. I look after the technical department here, and just from my point of view, I just want to welcome everybody to the presentation this morning, and I hope you find it interesting. About Entekra, so really we're a design, engineering and manufacturing company. We provide our brand of offsite solutions, which we say is fully integrated. Our FIOS system, as we call it, is our brand of integration at the front end of our process, which is basically taking all the client's information, bringing that together into drawings that suit ourselves and to suit all of the solutions that we want to provide to that customer. That drawing is then converted into a fully integrated 3D model, which is then outputted to manufacture and on the site then for delivery and logistics, and then is assembled as part of the process at the end. So really, from our point of view, what we're doing is we're delivering our brand of offsite construction to the west coast of the US. We're established in Modesto in California. So we do our manufacturing in the US, and we do our front-end design, engineering, and technical functions based here in Ireland. So what have we got here? We've got basically technical, finance, and estimating. We're all based on one site here, and we've dedicated training facilities as part of that as well for both our graduates that are coming on board and our existing staff training as part of the process. Just a bit more about what we do in the technical side of things. So we've got the design and engineering for US manufacturing. So we've got two main teams there which are producing drawings and information for the manufacturing side on the US. And we've got our research and development function based here. And obviously just what I've spoken to about there, which is the training and development facility also. A little bit about manufacturing. Our main manufacturing facility is based in Modesto in California. We started with a smaller facility in Ripon, California, which was 27,000 square feet. That was our pilot plant for doing basically I suppose it was an R&D plant for us, where we decided to learn about the product, learn about the market that we had there, just to try and understand everything that we needed to understand in order to specify the new facility. That new facility is on just a picture there on the right hand side. Was opened in September 2019. It's 180,000 square feet, or just under 4 acres under one roof. It's one of the most advanced facilities in the world for offsite construction manufacturing, and it has a capacity of 3,000 homes per year. Currently, we're sitting at about 50% of that capacity, so we're building capacity continuously as we progress through into next year. Our plans would be to open a similar facility again in Southern California outside LA, and we're hoping that that's going to be announced in 2022. Just some behind the scenes stuff on the manufacturing side. We've got some of the most advanced saws and equipment in the world that's available to us. A lot of this is Weinmann equipment, so it's manufactured in Germany. This is just an image of one of the 560 saws which we use for cutting floor material. That's the infeed to a 520 saw, which is basically another version of pretty much the same thing that has automatic loading of material into the saw feed itself and progressing through to cut and manufacture on the far side. just to view one of the external lines, a multifunction bridge. That bridge has capacity to basically nail all our wall panels. It can also cut sheets and apply inkjet information to the panels as well as it manufactures. And just an overall view of the factory there itself as well, just to give people a little bit of an idea of what's going on. We have a lot of machinery in there. We've got 3 external wall lines. We've got 2 internal wall lines. And we've got some of these advanced saws as well for cutting sheet materials. And that's actually a picture of one of the saws there on the left-hand side. Just a bit about our on-site activities. Customer-wise, we were very fortunate to have a lot of the larger builders in America in Northern California market. So we're lucky to be able to supply homes to quite a few of those customers. The way we're set up is more that we'll have maybe 20 to 30 large customers, and we produce quite a few homes for each. We're currently supplying 3 to 4 homes per customer in some of these markets at the minute. So we're hoping to keep building that. And obviously, as we move to Southern California, then with another manufacturing facility, these customers are already building nationwide. So it makes it easier for us to add additional factories and progress on from there. Just some background on some of the customers themselves. KB Home, we did a show home for them in Las Vegas in June 2018. We're very lucky to be supplying this type of customer. They tend to do high-end homes in the US market. Closings for them in 2020 were 10,672 homes, so they're a reasonable size for the US market. Toll Brothers, we actually built, we started supplying these guys in lockdown in the first wave of COVID. In 2020, they built 8,500 homes. These homes that you're looking at here were constructed overlooking the Bay Area in California. They sell for about 1.5 million each. So again, just they provide high-end, large-scale homes in the US market. Lennar, again, large home builder, second largest home builder in the US. We're building a community then with 500 to 600 homes at the moment. They supplied 53,500 homes in 2020. And D.R. Horton, the largest in the US, we're very lucky again to be running with these guys. 2020, they built 71,292 homes. So as you can see, from a market point of view, the US housing industry is huge. They build 1.2 million homes per year. We only need a very small percentage of these customers' annual national output, and we're going to be very busy. Okay, so I'm going to hand back over to Kira here. We're just going to give a video of just a little bit of a background of what we do on the ground and sort of maybe put some of this stuff into perspective. Okay, thank you.
Off-site construction goes back over 50 years in my family. My dad was a carpenter, started off basically roofing houses in Ireland, emigrated to New York, discovered wood frame homes which weren't being built in Ireland at that time, went back to Ireland in the early 60s and decided to go into home construction building wooden frame homes. But when he went back and he decided to do it, he decided to do it out of a factory. And that became effectively the first off-site factory ever in Ireland. I'm Jerry McCaughey, I'm CEO of Entekra, and we are at Entekra's headquarter plant in Modesto, California. There's a direct correlation between the cost of something and the lack of productivity. And so you've seen house prices become more unaffordable, and at the same time, which is somewhat blatantly obvious, productivity has also declined. So to us, it is quite clear that if you want to improve the affordability of housing in the United States, you have to increase the productivity. I mean, it's just economics 101. There's so little technology being utilized inside the construction industry, despite the fact that we're now in 2020, yet today, they say, is the industry with the least digitization in it, and yet the technology exists to build the house before it's ever built, which is what we do.
So part of my task is to meet with the architects, engineers, the trades. I take that project and I look at all that information and I dial it back into the guys over in Ireland, and then they produce a full 3D model of that home.
So pretty much the model is designed at this stage.
We know where every nail is in it, we know where every stud is in it, we can tell you where every screw is, we can tell you the number of nails that are in it.
He's going to be able to watch the frame come together on the model itself. So if you want to take him through that, if you have any questions, obviously, we can take them through that at the same time.
That information that we produce the digital twin from produces a set of CAM files, computer-aided manufacturing files, that go to some of the most sophisticated manufacturing equipment in the world. That's literally cutting to tolerances that are down to the millimeter. We're making walls in the factory that work to a tolerance of 2 millimeters over 10 meters, which is basically a 16th of an inch over 33.5 feet. When we bring a house out to site and we take the average 2,500 square foot house, we're bringing that house to plate level every single time, every single day in 6 to 7 hours with 4 guys.
The industry for us, construction as we knew it, has changed with entekra in the sense that it's much more reliable when it comes to when we order a home, which is called a kit. That kit is going to show up on the day we ordered it, and it's going to be built in a day. What that's transpired into is that all of the other trade contractors that work behind entekra can now also count on that house being built on that given day and can schedule their manpower accordingly. So it's worked in our favor to be more efficient across the board. It's not just we got the house built in a day, it's much more than that. It's all the other trade contractors that are part of the team behind entekra being more efficient as well.
The most rewarding part of the process to me is watching the look on a builder's face who has used our product for the first time and just seeing the total amazement that his house is actually up in one day. And it really, I mean, I love to be on site when we're delivering the first house to a new customer, just to see that look on their face.
That's just a wee bit of background into how the company came about, and just that was an award that we won in 2019 for the Ivory Innovations, and I'm just going to take you through the second part of the presentation. So basically working for entekra means being part of an advanced technical team here in Monaghan. It continued expansion and progression of the Irish team ahead of US manufacturing, potential trips to the US factory and sites as part of ongoing training, opportunity to build a career in offsite construction at the highest level, and been part of our vision to be the best offsite team in the world. So at the minute, we have uploaded some career opportunities that are uploaded to the Careers Connect platform. So they're available and they're live at the minute. And we're, again, as we're continually growing and expanding, we have a continuous recruitment drive on at the minute, which is available for job opportunities at present for any maybe previous students that could be connected in with us, or come graduating time or placement time. We like to connect with students as well for placement opportunities as well as graduating opportunities too. So then it's just if there's any questions, if anybody has any questions, if they want to either post them up in the chat or ask away.
In preparing for some of the students to get the reins working on a Monday morning, maybe some questions will come in from me in terms of those opportunities, Ciara, that you're mentioning, and building on what the video sort of gave us a huge insight into, and the technology involved in this. We will have students from architectural technology listening today, from construction management, building surveying. In terms of the technology, and I know we've come out and done visits with you, some students will be here today who actually were part of that group who came out to your site. In terms of the technology side of things, from a career development perspective, the technology is really a key exposure, isn't it, in working with entekra?
Yeah, Alan, do you want to take that?
You want me to take this one?
Yeah.
I suppose yes. From our point of view, technology is a fundamental part of the process as far as we're concerned. We're operating in 2 separate countries and 2 separate continents. We're 6,000 to 6,500 miles apart in terms of the way that we're operating. So we continuously have to use technology to the best advantage that we can, to basically be able to operate the way that we should. I mean, if somebody had said 10 years ago that you would have a design and engineering center in Monaghan that was supplying advanced CNC files to a factory in California, they'd say you're probably off your head. So, I mean, at this stage now, for us, it's something that we take, I'm not saying we take it for granted, but there's been a huge amount of development here to allow us to function that way. What that means in reality is then that the people that are operating here are operating on the front end of technology as far as offsite construction is concerned. We used 3D laser scanning, just as one example of this type of thing that we're doing on site, and to collect data and bring that back here. So as I continuously say in these type of conversations, it's we know more about that foundation sitting in Ireland than the person standing beside it in California. So it's fantastic for us to be, I suppose, utilizing that in the best way possible. We're wired for development, we're wired to progress, and to be the best in the business of what we do. Therefore, the only way we can do that is to actually, I guess, be at the front end and continuously push the R&D and the development side of it. So the people that are working here are, being exposed to, I suppose, new developments in our design software all the time. We're working on things like, just on the side, we're working on a project with Monaghan Data Hub at the moment for computer vision to actually do an AI-led analysis of our panels as they're being manufactured and compared against the drawings that we're producing. So we're investing all this time and effort in our models and in the technology side of it. We want to actually maximize that and now actually gain another level, if you like, in terms of our performance on the US and the Irish side as a result of it. So from a graduate perspective or from an employee point of view, yeah, it's an exciting place to work, and it can be continuously changing and developing, and that's the way, that's what we want. We want to be the best in the business of what we do. So
So leading on from that, Alan, I suppose in terms of the mindset of the graduate that you're looking for, somebody who's interested in that side of technology, is there anything else from that perspective that you think is important for anybody tuning in or looking back on demand that you're looking for in any applicant?
We're looking for people that want to be part of this. It is exciting. It is a bit unique in the way that we're operating. So we want people that are interested in being part of the team. We're very team focused. We're very much about progressing the team that we have and trying to develop the people that we have here. We have a good culture in the place in terms of, no one's afraid to ask a question, no one's afraid to answer a question. So, people that are happy in that environment and are a good fit for us are what we're looking for. We want to continuously grow. We've grown from 20 people at the start of 2020 to we now have about 54 in technical. So we've more than doubled our numbers in the last year and a half. So it's fast paced. If people that are want to be part of that and are back to sort of have that drive and ambition to succeed and to progress with their own careers, they're exactly the type of people that we want to talk to. So. And
then maybe I might turn over to you, Grant. I know you've been with you actually were at our fair last year as well, Grant, and discussing then. But from your perspective in terms of a graduate from DKIT and the application process, what is it from your perspective that you might say to anybody who might be sitting in either a classroom today or at home tuning into this in terms of either what to put in an application or what to think about when thinking of entekra?
I think probably the most important thing would be to show your motivation, so that you're willing to work and you're willing to learn. I think that's a very important thing. It's not that you could be the smartest man in the world, but at the end of the day, you have to have the right mindset and come in and you want to learn. Here, the training's great. We'll take you through the whole process. As Alan said in his presentation, it's design, engineering and manufacturing. So you'll be starting a job and seeing it right through to the end. And we'll provide all the training to get you to that standard. And I think that's probably one of the most important things, coming in and wanting to learn.
Great. So in terms of that application process, for those who are maybe looking for a graduate role or maybe looking at the positions that you've posted up on Careers Connect that you mentioned there, Ciara, what's the application process like? Is it submission of CV and then screening interview or direct to interview? What's the process like? What can people expect?
Catherine, do you want to take this? Because suppose this is your
Yeah, so Catherine, we'll take in the applicant's CV, and then it'll be reviewed, progressing to, first of all, at present, a Teams interview, and then if that is going to be followed on with a second interview, that interview will be here on site. So meeting Alan in person and just getting to see a bit what the office here environment here is like. Alan will take you through that. You'll get to meet some of the team just when you're here there when you're here on site, and that's how it'll go. So it'll be a 2-stage process. So it would.
Okay. So CVs are important in terms of getting that motivation across that Grant
absolutely.
talked about and that Alan has been talking about as well, in terms of that wanting to be part of a team, is the words I've been hearing, that you're motivated to learn, be part of a company that is really growing at a very fast pace at the moment. So that's the type of information you're looking for on the CV. Is that right, Catherine?
To get that across, and you can accompany that with a covering letter, just to, if you want to get some more information across too, that can also be beneficial.
Great. I was just thinking about sort of housing crisis that we have in Ireland, and some questions we had with lecturers and other staff at the end of last week, thinking about this particular event, the built environment, and maybe, I don't know who this is for, but probably Alan, yourself, in terms of, we know that this is the US in terms of the market that you're focusing in on. Is there any ideas of where this could meet some of the housing needs within Ireland, and maybe where entekra could be part of that?
I think, a lot of the experience that we have here has been based and grown in the Irish and UK market, so a lot of our back history has been in that market, so we understand it quite well. I'd say, being at the front end of things from our point of view, I think we're continuously pushing the boat out and making sure that we're developing. So the offsite construction industry develops as an industry, if you like. So as we progress with things and as we come up with new processes and systems, I would imagine that will end up being something that gets adopted elsewhere. So even for us driving in the US market, the training, the development, the experience that we're building there will ultimately end up filtering back and getting utilized, I'm sure, here as in other areas. So some of the projects that we're working on at the minute, I think will become the norm down the line. I suppose from our point of view, we just want to be working on them first and being the leaders at the front and doing that. So but I can see that being stuff that happens, and even from a machine and a technology point of view, we'd push quite hard on the development of that, and all of that will end up being feedback to manufacturers, and ultimately end up developing the industry as a whole. So I think while we operate as separate companies and different parts of the industry, I think collectively the industry grows and learns and progresses together. So I think it has an impact everywhere.
Yeah. Okay. There's been a question that's come up with all sessions, and that's just about, I suppose, working styles and the impact of COVID on new sort of recruits onboarding, that end of things. We know that you work sort of tandem with the US all the time, so different time zones, sort of tag teaming in different types of ways. Can you maybe give us, anybody there, an insight into how COVID maybe has impacted, or maybe not so much impact because of the nature of your sort of dual basis on new recruits coming into the office?
I think it was certainly a challenge, and we held off at the start of this year during lockdown. We held off bringing new people on board because we just felt it was going to be difficult to come into a fully remote environment at that stage, and we sort of made the decision, well, listen, let's take that easy for a week for the first 4 or 5 months, and once we got back into the office, I think, to be fair to people starting in a business, you don't really want to start working remotely. And while we had smaller numbers of the team that would have started maybe at the beginning of January and found themselves working from home within a couple of weeks, at least they got the chance to be in the office and actually meet people in the flesh. So I think our approach was, let's try and minimize the pain for new employees coming on board by having them start when we're in the building and when we're all together. I think COVID in general has probably, I would say, improved our communication in some ways, and that we have daily meetings with the team. You know, that happens on Microsoft Teams. It happens, you know, frequently you know, every day at the same time. I think those types of systems that came in as a result of the first lockdown have had a massive benefit to the guys here, and in terms of the way that they operate and the way that they learn, the way that they set themselves up for their daily work. So, you know, I think there's been positives out of that. Certainly, it's placed an emphasis on team even more with us. I think we've realised that, you know, having people working together in the same office environment has been tremendously beneficial for the people that are learning. Maybe for people that already know their trade and they're very good at what they do. Okay, they've less maybe interaction on the learning front with other staff members, but for the people that come into the business and want to progress and learn quickly, certainly that team environment where they're surrounded by the rest of their team and being able to turn around and ask a question is a massive benefit. And I think, you know, there's no substitute for that. There's no substitute for that conversation that you can hear in the background that maybe you're picking something up from, and you can turn around and ask a question as well. You know, that's the power of being as part of a team in the same environment. But, you know, we have to deal with the situations we're given and you know, make the best of it.
And I think that's the interesting part of this. There are good elements that people have been able to take out of it and bring into their working days in terms of either managing it or other areas. But I think it's really important to highlight the training impact and the professional development being one of the top 3 things that graduates look for now in terms of graduate roles, is that idea of training and professional development. And that's what you've been focusing in on, the fact that training is a key theme of the experience of joining the entekra team, and of that experience, especially from onboarding, but the whole way through as part of an ongoing team growth.
We're wired that way. I mean,
Yeah.
Kira now has a team launching this week. We're hopefully going to incorporate another 4 members into that team. So we'll actually have 5 people in training and development from the middle of November onwards. There's a huge focus on that on our side. There has to be. We have to accept that we can't have people coming in with the skills and experience that we need. We need people with a good foundation that we can work with and a good attitude, and we do the rest. You know, we have to progress. We have to be geared so that we can train people up and progress that way. So there's a huge importance on that. That is the number one thing as far as we're concerned. We can't grow at the rate that we're growing without wanting to progress the people that we have working here at the time.
Well, I think that's a lovely note to sort of bring to the end this presentation. I think there is safe to say that we would very much welcome you in person on campus when we're given the go-ahead to do that, to promote more of the opportunities that you have and get meeting our students and our graduates face-to-face around that. But in the meantime, applications and job descriptions for those positions are up online on Careers Connect. And we encourage you all to look back, and there's a look back on the presentation and take details of what all of the team have spoken to you about. But yet again, thanks to each and every one of you for showing up this morning, and thanks to entekra for their time and ongoing support of DKIT.
It's great. Thanks very much, Catherine.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Catherine.
Catherine.
Bye-bye.